Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance e-streaming and the ANZCAR Facebook page for the ANZCAR Cup. We are here for round 31 of 35. It is the sixth round of the chase here tonight at the Charlotte Roval. Yes, those road course specialists are going to be out in force tonight, and could be a good evening for those road course specialists in the chase as well. I've got with me up here in the booth, of course, Mr. Matty Hunter on the cameras and doing all the behind the scenes work and the actual work. Mr. Mark Hansen being calling with me, and special guest tonight, Mr. Matty Raymond as well. So lots of M's in the box tonight. But welcome, lads. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Yeah, good to be back again. I wasn't going to miss this round, that's for sure. Got to be on the lookout for the DPR boys tonight.
No,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
exactly right, isn't it? Thanks for having us here, boys. It's bloody bit weird being on this side of the camera for once, but bit excited, eh? I'm not too keen on this track, but yeah, it should be a good night here in Charlotte, eh?
Yeah, mate. Just wait till the second or third week when they start locking the commentary booth doors so you can't get in. That's when
Yeah,
you
that's
really know
right.
you've made it.
Yeah,
I,
exactly. Yeah.
I let Matty Ray on the secret of the stashing of the key, so he knows his way in now. Just don't look under the gnome by the commentary box if you ever come up here. But yeah, we are getting ready tonight. Obviously, we've had a lot of action happen. We were at Dega last time, and that usually shakes things up a little bit for the old championship. I'm just going to go through quickly on the chase standing. So it's Foster in the lead, 5 points ahead of Dyson, who is going to be looking to have a good run here tonight. Heddershide came into the chase swinging with the win at Dega, of course. Now 22 points behind the leader. 33 points down is Mr. Joshy Micklemore. He is still within a shout, but it is going to be very tricky for him. Jason Martin in fifth, 40 points down, with Skurlock just 1 point behind him in sixth. Brenton Hobson was a big loser at Talladega, unfortunately going down 45 points in the chase. It's been a rough one for him, but a good season overall. Neil Pearson, eighth, 75 points off the lead. Ruben Phelps, 81 points down, and Luke Trahare, of course, unable to get in to the races because he's off gallivanting around Europe. But it has been a fantastic little run, this chase, and it is very close at the top. I mean, the battle between Foster and Dyson is so close at the moment.
Yeah, mate. Look, last week Andrew didn't have a real good result. He fell back a bit. But the hard luck story of the chase has to go out to Neil Pearson. Out of the six or the 5 rounds so far, I think he's finished one or two of them. Internet problems, been caught up in some other issues on track. So it's been a hard chase for him.
Absolutely, it's been a rough one, and in the regular season championship, we have the leader actually sitting up here in the booth with us, Mr. Matty Ray. But it has been a really rough chase for a couple of the drivers, and obviously, Hobson as well. It not been his favourite tracks he's coming to, and that sort of hurt him in this sort of part of the season. Yeah, it was so strong all year, and then come the chase, just fallen off a little bit. A bit of a different story for Foster, but we are lining up on the grid, so let's go through the qualifying positions. So up on the front row, taking pole position for the first time I think this season, is Mr. Philip Worley in the purple flavoured DPR car with Dyson on his outside in the orange colour. Second row of the grid is Heddershide and Pearson. Watch out for Heddershide here. He is very good on the road courses. Foster is on third row with Joshua Carroll Walden on his outside. DPR versus Natari up the front. Fourth row, we have Martin and Micklemore. It is a Mitch fourth row. Fifth row is Neil and Urquio. Watch out for Urquio. Had a good strong night here last night in the Thunder Series. We'll hope to repeat it tonight. Norman Clark lines up with Tristan Koch on the sixth row. Seventh row, we have Nankervis and Darren Lobb. And rounding us out tonight is Ruben Phelps and Matty Ray, not racing tonight, up here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, no, I'm having a night off. I've broken my rig, so
Oh,
just doing one lap to get the points I can. And yeah, over the next day or two, we'll be taking the next level pro rig back over to the SRM shop, and we'll new back up, hopefully before Saturday night.
oh, that is not fun. I mean, hopefully the rib will heal quickly because it is never fun having a broken one. And I imagine
Yeah, Sorry, not the rib, the rig. Just
Oh,
chair. So, yeah,
I
no,
thought you said rib.
Right.
Yeah, okay, that's not as bad then. Okay, that's easier to fix.
Nah, I wouldn't have a go at welding me ribs up. That might be a bit tough.
I'll
So,
tell, I'll tell you
it's
what,
not so
Carl.
serious.
This is going to be interesting with the 2 DPR cars well, 3 DPR cars in the top 3 or top 4 spots. Then you've got the Pari. So it's going to be interesting to start. Are we going to see any early gamesmanship? And then we've got the Mitch boys there. So that's going to be interesting too on the race start.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how they work this one out and whether they just go absolutely for it, if they're going to go full on. Obviously, Worley isn't in with championship-wise. He's not in contention, only competing in 9 races this season. But he is going to be wanting to have a good performance tonight. And same with Pearson as well. They just want to prove themselves to be sort of dominant. But they can't afford to battle too much because they have that big group of Natari cars behind them. And then don't count out the Mitch boys as well. So it's fascinating to see how the teams have lined up. You can see they've been putting their practice in for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Just some information for those that are watching. The track tonight is 2.28 miles. Equals 3.6 kilometres, and it's got 17 turns. Carl and Matt, I think, I don't know if these road circuits are going to have any wear on the tyres. I think maybe we may see the heat being the biggest factor tonight with the tyre wear.
Yeah,
I reckon. Yeah,
I
sorry.
agree. That's all right. It's hard to even
completely
commit
agree
to.
with you. They do seem to get these cars on road courses aren't like the trucks or the Xfinity cars. They're a lot different. They tend to get a lot better over time. The tyres on roadies. And, yeah, it's really really strange. So.
All right, so green flag is about to drop. So it is going to be Worley versus Dyson up the front. Watch how this goes at the start. Tricky little starting section as well because you're going to have cars starting in the chicane. So watch out at the back of the grid. Worley comes around, puts his foot on the floor, and is away for round 31 of the ANZCAR Cup, brought to you by 24/7 Sim Services. Worley gets a good start up the front and gets sideways. Oh, off the first corner, manages to hold it there. Very loose through that first turn there. Tyres not quite up to temperature on the rear. It almost caught him out terribly. Crash there at the front of the field would be awful as Pearson has a big bump and round goes Hedderscheid. Hedderscheid manages to save the car, get it pointing back in the right direction, but has lost a whole heap of positions. Maybe a little bit of contact between Pearson and Hedderscheid in that one. I couldn't quite see, but they were both loose getting through that first sector. So just looking a little bit further back in the field, it seems relatively steady there, but up the front it is pulling away now for Dyson. He's making a move down on Philip Worley, getting into the lead of the race. It is Dyson, Worley, Pearson. Just behind them is Foster and Jason Martin, who's had a great start, avoiding the carnage of that first corner. Daniel Hedderscheid falling down a little bit behind Josh Mickelmore. Another good run for Barry Neal as well. He's managed to bring up the beautifully painted orange ANZCAR car right up into the battle and into the mix in 7th position. And Darren Lobb having a fantastic start, getting up 4 positions.
Yeah, Carl, I just went back and had a quick look at that, and it definitely looked like a net code issue there. So we may see Neil get away with that one, but they definitely didn't make a touch. But yeah, it was definitely a net code.
It's tricky racing that close, and obviously, first lap in these things, the tyres are not up to temperature, as JCW has a bit of a bad run through the first corner, is getting passed by Barry Neal. Barry Neal on an absolute flyer now on his early stages of the race. Daniel Hedderscheid looking to make the move on his teammate as well, and watch out for Mickelmore behind him. Mickelmore still recovering from COVID, actually. He's unwell at the moment, but luckily he's sealed up in his car so he can't spread it. But he's up there battling 3 wide almost with Darren Lobb in the back section. Lachlan Oakrio watching on, just seeing what happens here, seeing what he can pick up from this battle and if he can jump ahead of these guys. Looks like Lobb might be looking down the inside to go 3 wide on the oval. They seem to be lining up now to not be battling too hard, but it's going to come to the chicane. Who is going to blink first?
This first chicane I can always get through okay. It's that second one coming back around it on the main straight. That always seems to catch a lot of drivers out. with the big ripple strip on the inside as you turn left.
Two did not go into one there.
Roval, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I was about to say there was a bit of contact through that corner. Not much, just a little bit of door banging, which is absolutely fine. But this is the corner where it is much trickier. Luckily, we're not running last night's configuration because I reckon we'd see. What has happened to Pearson? A lot of damage on the left front of the car. Good to go back and see what happened to that one. Big accident in that chicane. So at the rear chicane, he's just taken a bit too much curb. We're going to see the replay now, I think. Nope, a little bit further on. It's just on the back chicane, Matt. So, yeah, coming into that final sector, he's just taken a little bit the wrong line into the chicane. So this part coming up now, there we go. And he's just ran wide, unfortunately. So we'll see it here, coming into the chicane. He gets up very close to the wall, taking a fast entry, but just possibly locks it up or just runs a bit wide here. So he doesn't get his entry right. He clips the blue curb out a little tiny bit on the exit, I think it was. There we go. You can see he's just running out a little bit wide in the entry. Clips that blue curb, and that just sends him flying, locks up, and then straight into the barrier.
Yeah, he's hit the ripple and that's grabbed the brake and just a passenger really at that point, isn't he?
That is, again, adding to his poor run of luck recently. That was, again, it's not been his chase.
Well, that's and that's helped Ed out. Ed's moved up into third place now, so I know, talking to Ed through the week, he was hoping for a reasonable result here, and if he can stay there, he'll be happy with that.
It will be a good finish considering the points at the moment. We've got a good battle going on down in 8th position between Micklemore, Urquio and Joshua Carroll Walden as well. So JCW in the mix in this battle, and Ruben Phelps just hanging off the back at the moment. Barry Neal pulling away a bit, but this is probably the closest battle we got on track as it stands. Darren Lobb pulling away a little bit in front of Barry Neal as well. So some good action in the middle part of the pack. I think the front section's just pulled out a little bit, and they're running their own race now.
Yeah, it looks like these three guys in the middle of the pack been going for a few laps now too. Like he's just been sitting behind there by the looks, licking his chops, waiting. And because JCW, I think, and Micklemore got together a little bit earlier going through the chicane. So maybe he's just waiting and Rudy's sitting there behind him as well.
And I can tell you too, guys, I just keeping an eye on Ed. He's had a slowdown because he's gone straight on through that back chicane on that back straight. So he's had to slow down, but he's remained in third spot.
Bit of a battle going on ahead of this pack as well, as JCW looks to make a bit of a move, goes wide, but that's going to slow him down a little bit. Darren Lobb makes the move up ahead though on Jason Martin. The DPR car just running on the outside and gets a beautiful launch ahead of the mean purple Mitch machine of Martin and gets up into 5th place. Now, this track is always a tricky one. It's not everybody's favourite, I think. Some people tend to like it, but most people just have troubles here. What's the most difficult sections on this track, Maddie, to get into the rhythm?
Oh, geez, for me, all of it nearly. The infield around here, I think, because it's a relatively new surface, is just incredibly slippery. So braking marks, everything has to be 100% perfect, and just the slightest movement in line, and you lighten up the rears, or you're heading straight up the fence. So it's extremely technical, especially for an oval type race like myself. And compared to somewhere, say, like Road America or the Glen, they're a lot more sort of simpler tracks, I'd say, in comparison. But yeah, the back chicane, since they tightened that up, that's been really hard. And even turns 1 and 2, where you see JCW and Micklemore going through now, the transition when you turn into it, sometimes the front end bounces like crazy, and does it also coming onto the oval, off of the infield sometimes for myself anyway. And it just, they're really tough cars to sort of get around here. Any
Well,
sort of stock car is just, I imagine, because they're so heavy with small tyres.
yeah. What I was going to say too, Matt, is that a lot of people wouldn't realise how much the track undulates in through that infield. It's very up and down. You think with being a super speedway, that infield will be nice and flat, but it
Yeah.
really undulates.
It does, yeah, to the point where you've sort of got crested corners that with the fence there, infield fences and whatnot, it makes them blind too. So something happens, you just can't see what's until you're there, and then you don't have time to react, etc. But yeah, it is. It's a real tough racetrack. You got to be very consistent to do well here, I find. So
Yeah, I'd say that the hardest one with the blind crest is turn 6, that right-hander before you, the left-hander or the double left-hander before you come back onto the circuit. You're really over that crest there, and it's a blind right-hander.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, yeah, like I said, most of the turns around here are extremely tough. And where we see Jason Martin and Barry going through right there, just you miss the braking and you're off the track. There's no ifs or buts. And even coming through here last night, I grabbed the rears just a touch in the Xfinity car, and Martin's got trouble, has he?
Yeah, he just locked that right front.
Yeah, slowed him up a bit. He's losing 2 spots, so Barry
Right
and,
in the spot where we were just
exactly
talking
where you're
about.
just saying, yeah. So yeah, I turned around last night on the infield, just clipping one of the blue sausages, and yeah, it's just really easy to do.
Yeah, I just went back and looked at that. Martin just lit it up coming out of turn 5, I think it was, and just lost the rear end there. And easy to do, of course. And the temperature as well tonight, it is 43 degrees track temperature at the moment.
Yeah,
So it
really
is
hot.
bloody warm out there.
Yeah, it makes it real slick and slippery, so it's not going to help the drivers at all. Oh, he's had a big block up there.
Yeah, that big moment there for Martin, but he managed to save it, luckily. Didn't go into the wall. We were talking a bit last night as well about the new damage models and the physics on these cars, because they have got the new damage on there. So obviously, if you're a bit rough with them, they tend to break a bit easier as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it doesn't even take that big. I mean, you can be fairly rough with these new bodies on these cars. They are pretty tough, but once you do give the wall or something on an oval a good hit, and it breaks a toe link or something, then you're just going around. You can't save it. Or the front end's not too bad. It sort of disconnects the top control arm sort of thing, and the wheel sort of leans over. You can sort of get it to pit lane, but it's really hard when it does happen. And yeah, there's no coming back from it.
No, it's not a fun thing to have happen. Battle between Norman Clark and Tristan Koch on track. We've got a good pass up in front between the 35 and the 22 of Barry Neal and Joshua Carroll-Walden. They're coming up towards that back chicane, turn 11 and 12 now. Side by side, they come into it. JCW's got the inside for the first bit, which will soon turn to the outside, but JCW just sneaks through that. Very nice little move there. Cuts in front of Neal, so Neal just has to dab the brake a little harder, gets a little lock up, but both drivers make it through.
Yeah, that's it, and I sort of had to give it to him there a little bit. He had him on the outside, and probably more best not to fight him too hard there and lose more time to Jason Martin or anyone like that.
Oh, the other thing too is that it's a long race. It's 45 laps, so it's just a fair distance, and you don't want to go damaging the car early. I'm quite sure a few of these will be wearing some battle scars by the end of it.
Yeah, most definitely. I certainly would be if I was out there, I reckon.
Oh, you would not damage the car. We know your MO. You know, you get it home as clean as possible. You know, you don't have to do any work on it.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's less work when you take it home, eh? So,
That is one thing I do like about sim racing. You hit escape and the car's repaired, and you don't have to spend the week repairing it.
Oh, it's nothing like rebuilding engines.
Oh, yeah. No, it's great. Well, yeah, Mark, you know what it's like real racing. You sort of spend all week straightening the thing out and getting it all prepped, and just to go smash it up on Saturday night and do it all again all next week. So.
Yes, mate. I remember a season there where it seemed like every time we put the car on the track, it come home bent. So
yeah, that's half the fun, though, isn't it?
Yes,
Nothing more fun than sitting on the sidelines watching the driver go around and then wreck it, and you just go, "Oh, god damn it!" You know, that's going to be more work for me tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's always a fun situation to be in. Just looking through the times at the moment, fastest lap just been set by Dyson up in front, a 19.8. Previous fastest lap was a 888, sorry, an 899, 19.899 for Darren Lobb. So those two are dueling fastest laps at the moment. Good pace in those cars, sort of sitting in the 19s, everybody else in about the 20s. So Foster at the moment is a 20.2. A little bit faster than Philip Worley. So they're all sort of playing around with their times, and this is sort of the stage of the race where you just need to get settled and just get into that rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just looking at the gaps too, Carl. I mean to say, there's 4 seconds between first and second. Then there's another 7 seconds between second and third, and then it's a big jump between the two Natari cars, out to 12 seconds between third and fourth. So Ed's got a nice little gap there. So long as he can keep it nice and straight and stay off them walls that he seems to like at some places, he should be okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few gaps in the field, but they're sort of closing up, and there's a couple of battles. I'm just looking back at P11 fight between Clark and Urquio at the moment. Those two having a good little tussle. Sorry, I say. Sorry, P12. Sorry, I should say. Between Clark and Urquio, as Urquio makes the move in the final chicane there, slides it through nicely and gets up past Norman Clark. Urquio had a bit of a moment beforehand. You've seen him drop down a few positions. He had a bit of a moment into the turn 11, 12 chicane, the back straight chicane, as we say, and just looped it around there, just got caught up on the curbs. So he's fallen down a few positions, so he's got to go into damage control mode.
What I find here is too, like those blue blue ripple strips. You can't really call them ripple strips because they're not. They're actual stops.
Speed bump,
yeah. And I know that I've hit that front chicane a little bit hard, and it's done some serious damage to that left front. So that's why you see a lot of guys really trying to stay away from that blue speed hump.
There's a lot of time to be gained leaning on them, of course.
Yeah, if you can hit them just right, which is extremely hard to do. I don't know how Dyson, these blokes just hit it every single time. You can, work it, or as close as you can get it to it, the better, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's so hard just driving these things. All these blokes out here make it look so easy. It's so much harder than it looks most of the time. But if you can get it right, geez, you can make some time, eh?
No, that's it. It's one of the things that is often forgotten is just how tricky these cars are to drive. And you see them drivers out there, and they do make it look very easy sometimes. And people just go, "Oh yeah, it's not that hard." I mean, I've driven some other cars around here and not had too much trouble. Bit of battle going on for the P10 spot between Phelps and Micklemore at the moment as well. Those two very close together, but these are very hard cars to drive. I mean, a lot of power in the rear, of course, but the chassis and everything, they're very heavy cars and not that flexible.
Yeah, exactly right. And now, I mean, they're still a relatively new race car too, so everyone's still adapting at the same time, which compared to what we're used to, the old live rear axles, no diffuser or anything like that, it's a radical change for us all, so it does make it a bit more of a challenge.
Oh, absolutely, and switching to the low profile tires as well, it's really been a learning experience, I think, for everybody. I think people are getting more used to them now, but it has taken a while for people to get that sort of used to that much slimmer tire, of course, because that removes some of the suspension on the car and makes it a lot trickier to drive.
Yeah, it is. It's completely different to like the trucks and the Xfinity now. The Cup car used to be sort of similar, just a lot quicker. But yeah, now they are insanely different from, like you say, the tyre behaves completely different to every other tyre I'm used to. And the rack and pinion steering's a lot more different too. It reacts so differently. It's got a lot less sort of feeling in the front end, I find, which it does add to the challenge. But I mean, to get practice in it, it's all right. It's good fun.
Yeah, my inside man in real life has said that every time that these things hit the track, they are learning something different every single time.
Yeah, would
So
be.
he's saying, it's probably going to be the end of next season where they where the teams really get a handle on them. So it'll be interesting to see how iRacing keeps up with it.
Yeah, exactly. And they normally are really sharp with all that sort of thing. I mean, my younger brother runs a super dirt late model in real life, and hopping in one on here, it's unbelievable how good they get it, like, and how close they do get it.
It's very fun getting that opportunity to race some of these cars. At the moment, though, Lob is all over the back of Heddershide. This battle is starting to heat up. The DPR versus Natari battle is on, and Lob has really had to work for it tonight. Up 9 places so far. He's going to hope to make it 10 places at the end of this lap as he's going to try into the chicane. Can't quite get the braking done for this one, but gets ever closer to the back of Heddershide, and this has been coming for a fair few laps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lob's had a lot
definitely.
of pace. He's been quick tonight, hasn't he?
So Matty R, where would if you were Lob, where would you be setting up for the pass?
Oh, that's a good question, really. I mean, sometimes, well, what I tend to do normally is like sit behind someone, well, while I'm catching someone, is try and pick where I'm better than them and work on that, or work on where they're weaker, maybe slightly or something like that. Oh, he's having a dive now. It's pretty tough being on the outside around here, though. I don't know if he'll be able to. Oh, he's crossing him over, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like he went for a switch back there.
Yeah, but I don't know. Me personally, I'd probably try and get on the inside of them coming onto the oval, and hang them out there and have the inside line and try and beat them into the chicane under braking.
Yeah, tell you what, Daniel's done well to stick to that outside through there,
He's hanging in there.
he's got the inside line back onto the oval.
Yeah, see, he might be able to hold him off here and then get back in front of him coming to the chicane, but it's tough. It's not easy.
Real close racing here, side by side on the oval section now between the 035 and 99 of Lob and Heddershide. Lob a little bit later on the brakes into the chicane, just makes it in front of Heddershide. A great move there, great battle for pretty much half a lap there, side by side.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he did end up getting the better of him there. It was well driven there, Simrig's Camaro.
Yeah, fantastic fight between those two, and a great defending as well by Heddershide through that lap. He sort of had the wherewithal to just keep in the right position, but just could not hold Lob off. Looks like Lob's got slightly better drive out the corners. Just been watching him a little bit, and he's just able to get his foot. He's just a little bit more confident on the exit, and just able to get his foot down a little bit earlier. So he's got a fairly nice gap to make up, almost 10 seconds now to get up to Foster. So he's going to have to really push to get that one closed up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ed's with these two battling the way they were, that's given Ed another nice little bonus gap. But they're fairly well spread out. Josh Micklemore and Ruben Phelps are probably the closest two on the track at the moment.
Yeah, just ahead of them as well, Martin and Neil are very sort of together as well. So that sort of battle, top 7 battle, is the one to keep an eye out for, I reckon, at the moment, because this is where we're probably going to see moves happening. It's always tricky when you're battling around here, because you just got to, you sort of want to be fighting, but you've also got to keep the right line, because it's so easy to go offline here and all of a sudden find yourself in one of those nasty barriers.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing here, Carl, is every time I've seen Barry racing, he's had a fairly good result. It's always been up in that top 10, and you can see, as you said, he's in that top 10, and he's battling away.
Yeah, he's had a fairly solid end to his season, Barry, and he's going to be hoping to have a nice solid couple of results here. Of course, getting that win a few races back will have helped a nice spot as well. The regular Barry Neal win, we're going to call it, for the year. He manages one a year now. in the Cup, but hopefully we can get that double in there. But he's had a really solid run at the end of the season. Looks to be getting more confident with the car.
Yeah, it's a hard one because there's slightly differences between the three mates, and like people say, oh no, there's no difference. They're all the same. There is a slight difference, and the cars are slightly stronger in certain spots than others. So Barry's got a great run down through that back into that back chicane. He just opens up that ever slight gap coming back onto the oval.
Yeah, that's it. He has a pretty good run through there. Through the infield, I saw he just cooked one of the sausages, and Martin ended up all over him. But yeah, he's gapped him pretty good again now, giving himself some space.
So interestingly, we just had our first pit stop of the race. Needed pit stop, I should say. Norman Clark came into pit lane, topped it up with fuel, and has got back out on track. So Norman Clark, the first driver to take the stop for this race. He's currently sitting in 15th position, just behind Neil Pearson, who's having a very lonely, I'd say pretty miserable race down in 14th position now. He's still struggling to get to grips with that number 9 car. Obviously quite a bit of damage on that one. He's still setting fairly decent lap times, but he's not made it. The night has not gone easy for him, unfortunately. So Pearson, he could still get himself possibly in the top 11, I'd say, if all the if everything turns right for him. But it's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah. The other thing too is with Norman coming in so early, that he doesn't need to pit again. He'll make it home on fuel. So maybe he was trying for a bit of an undercut. The only bad thing is that if he's taking that pit stop, he's gone a lap down, but he should get that back if he's close enough. And he's sitting in behind Ed at the moment, so he should be able to get that lap back when Dyson and the front three pit.
Of course, no cautions on the road courses, so doesn't have to worry about that part. But yeah, it's always nice to finish on the lead lap, and of course it gives you a little bit of wiggle room if somebody does have a bit of an off, of course, and doesn't quite finish. So he'll be hoping to get somewhat up there. Interestingly, by my timing, he didn't take tyres, so it looks like they're going to keep the same set of tyres for the whole race. It'll be interesting to see if anybody does decide to change tyres. We have seen in previous races in this Cup car that changing tyres can be a sort of death sentence and sort of loses you time because you can't get them up to temperature and up to speed as quick as the Xfinity car, for instance, or the slightly bigger tyres. Oh, Micklemore has a big moment coming back onto the oval and loses the spot to Ruben Phelps. So, looks like Josh just got a bit wide coming out of turn 7 and 6 and 7. He's just had a little bit of a mistake in that sort of section, that big hilly section. Lost a bit of time, and that gave Ruben a nice little run up for this pass here, getting by him. So, just in this part here, he just starts to run a bit wide.
Oh, yeah.
Has to get off the gas.
Oh, Ruby almost got into him there.
Although Josh has just come into pit lane.
Maybe he's heated up that right front a bit. It's not turning too well for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what Josh does, if he's just going to take a splash of fuel.
Yeah, no tyres by the looks.
No, so fuel only 8.1 second stop, so just the fuel top up, and away he goes. So it's also, of course, on the road courses, if somebody makes a mistake of putting the tyres on, they lose a whole heap of time, don't they?
Typically with these things, yeah, I made a mistake one of the first times at the road courses by doing it, just naturally, as we always do, sort of. You always want fresh stickers. And, yeah, come out on colds and it's all over the place for a lap, and it takes you a good couple of laps to get back up to race pace, so you end up losing quite a bit of time.
With the temperatures, like, just gonna say, like, it's still 43 degrees out there, so would the tyres still take that 3 to 4 laps to get up to temperature, or would it be worth a roll of the dice tonight, or is it just best to stick to those tyres?
I mean, it could be, but these things don't seem to wear. Like the tyres just do not wear anywhere near like the other classes. So, I mean, you could possibly maybe come back towards the end with a bit of pace,
sorry.
but I don't know. I think you'd probably give up more than what you'd gain by the time in pit lane and the colds warming them back up when they do come out. That's just a guess, though. I'm not,
That's okay. Sorry, Mark, what was that you're saying?
I was just going to say, but Martin's all over the back of Neil at the moment, but he's just had a brake lock up, and he's dropped the gap. Barry's been able to pull that gap, but for that last half lap, Martin was really giving Neil some curry.
Yeah, it's good to see that battle going on. Ruben Phelps has just got himself into that now as well, so he's just sort of sitting behind them. Of course, these guys still need to make a stop. The difference is coming in now, of course, like for, say, Micklemore, he's going to be running in some slightly fresh air, so he's not going to have to battle as much with these cars. So it could be worth coming in for the undercut to try and sort of get that
Here he
clean
goes.
air.
He's in.
Martin is in. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in regards to Micklemore, because he was a couple of spots ahead of Micklemore coming into the stop. So we'll soon find out with Martin where he comes out. Just coming back to the tyre wear, cars are still selling some fastest laps out there, or very close to. Philip Worley just hit his fastest lap a few laps ago of a 19.7. That is a blisteringly quick lap. So obviously the wear is not really affecting them.
Micklemore's just coming around. Martin will get back out just in front of him.
Pretty well status quo there with those two.
From eyeballing it, it looks about the same gap as when they come in. Micklemore's got Pearson all over the back of him now, though. So Pearson is slowly climbing up the order. Jamie Nankervis up into 12th position. So he's having a solid run out there as well. Nankervis moving up, just getting past Micklemore, actually. So he's having a fairly solid run. Bit quiet down that back end, but he's sort of getting the car around, and I think the important thing tonight is just not making mistakes, of course. If you can get around with a clean car, I think that's going to be key for the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just touch on Jamie Nankervis, mate. We race in an American league, and he actually got his first league road race win in the Radicals the other week, and it was quite a convincing win from him too. So his road racing has definitely picked up a lot, as well as his oval racing.
Yeah, right. Bloody hell, good on him, mate.
It's good to hear. Jamie's no slouch. I mean, I've raced him a fair few times as we see Pearson and Koch both coming into the pit lane now. It's one of those things of just how close the competition is out here, because you sort of see some guys and they just whip off up the front, and sort of our midfield guys, you look at them and they are very, very good racers. It just shows how close the competition is in Australian oval racing and racing in general. It's great to see just how competitive these guys are, and everybody's improving as well. That's the thing that I love to see, is they tend to get better and better with each race and learn from each other as well.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's the crossbreed between the leagues now, that everyone is racing everyone each week. Some people can't make Saturday nights. Some guys can't make midweek races, but the core now between 3 or 4 leagues is very close, and with these better guys running in those lower league, well, not lower leagues, but lesser leagues, everyone's racing's picked up, and I've noticed that over the last 2 years that all the leagues are improving with the oval stuff, and it's getting better and better and tougher and tougher.
I mean, you look at the lack of cautions in most of the oval races, and it's great to see that coming up, because you watch some of the others, some sort of even pro series, and there tends to be a lot more cautions than we usually have.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's been, well, how long has it been now? ANZCAR's been around about 5-6 years now, isn't it? 5, 6.
Yeah, I
Something
think
like
it's 6 years. Matt'll be able to answer that. 5 years.
5, yeah. I reckon I started racing about 2017, and yeah, the amount the competition has grown over that time, and particularly pretty well since COVID sort of hit, it seems like the competition's really ramped up a lot. A lot of new guys coming through, and yeah, it makes it a lot harder, but like, it makes it also a lot more rewarding when you do well with these guys and have good races and battles. And yeah, it's really good sort of community, you know. We all know each other, talk to each other, we catch up for beers with each other, and yeah, it's pretty good, eh?
That's you Adelaide boys.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. I'm just not driving that far. Bloody hell.
As I said, I'll be over that way in February, so we might have to do a catch up then. So, and it depends on where the race cars are at that time. We may even get a corporate box out there at Murray Bridge.
Yeah, that's it.
Somewhere.
Sure Micklemore and those boys will hook us up there. They will live up that way, so we'll tee something up, I'm sure.
The Adelaide contingent, of course. Our best Adelaide runner at the moment is Foster up in third, so he's still running out there. He's got a healthy gap over Loeb, but it is closing.
It is closing though. Yeah, he's got him down to about 5 seconds. He was at 9 seconds earlier, so he might catch him towards the end of this race.
I feel sorry for Matt. You know, his best countryman sitting in 7th at the moment. Where's Daniel?
He's got Daniel.
Fifth.
Yeah, Daniel in
the
5th.
man sitting in 5th there.
Yeah.
5th. We've got a good excuse though this week.
The daylight saving.
Daylight savings.
Yeah, it's almost midnight now, where we are.
Yeah, they're only just rocking up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big book of drivers' excuses has been opened up for the Kiwis.
Don't worry, Matt. We go to about 6 different time zones this Saturday night. So we've got Brisbane drivers on one time, Sydney and Melbourne guys on another time, Adelaide drivers on a different time, and then
I'll use the good year playbook. Where there's no excuses, and then rattle off 10 excuses.
Straight away, yeah.
So they are catching a lot of traffic now. Dyson has caught a lot of traffic now, up in the lead. So he's getting past. He's just caught Jason Martin as well. So he's had to get through a lot of traffic. So might be worth, say, Worley even coming in for a quick splash now, before he has to try and pass his traffic, because he could gain a little bit of time with that. So we might see some stops from that. Of course, Foster, about 12 seconds, about 9 seconds back from Worley now. So he's got a few laps until he gets up to this traffic. But he could be worth coming in for a stop relatively soon, because then he'll have some free track and some clean air and not have to deal with trying to pass some cars.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, Ed's had a pretty lonely race too, hasn't he? He's been out on his own most of the night.
Yeah, it's been that way for a couple of drivers. When you have those lonely races, it can be quite hard sometimes to keep your eye on the ball, of course, and it's quite easy to sort of get lulled in and almost drop time, because you sort of get consistent and comfortable in a stint, and you almost lose time because you're sort of not pushing as hard as you could be.
Yeah, exactly. It's strange in these things, because they, like we were saying before, they get better over time, and the more the into a run most of the time. So you end up, you can push them harder. So you got to sort of focus more, and so you're going harder and harder under brakes. But then at the same time, the slightest mistake and you're off the track or in the fence. Yeah, it is hard after a while, especially in, like you say, if you're doing it, not racing someone. It's it can get a bit lonely at times.
As we tick over onto 17 to go, so lap 28 now. As Arza going along. It'll be interesting to see when the top drivers, the sort of leaders, come in for their stops, because they seem to be going to that sort of low tank number and making the most of a light car, of course, because as the fuel tank gets drier, of course, the car gets a little bit quicker. And we've just seen that with Dyson just setting a 19.032, almost into the 18s there for Dyson. That is a quick lap indeed, so I expect he's going to be coming into pit lane in the next lap or so.
I got a question for you. This question isn't taking anything away from these guys, but we've got to remember Dyson is a specialised road racer. Where do you think he's going to get to in lapping the car?
Oh, let's see. How long we got? 17 laps to go. I'll put him down for. I reckon he'll lap everyone except for fourth and up. I reckon he'll get to Lob. Nah, Lob's been real quick, and he's catching Edward too. Still, he's getting closer. So yeah, I reckon that's where he'll. Where he'll get to. I'll call fifth.
I'm going to be conservative and go sixth, so I'm going to price it right and just go one. But yeah, I reckon it's going to get up to around about possibly JCW towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and again, as I said, it's taking nothing away from these guys.
Oh, no,
it's just that Dyson is a master on road courses.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, like I said before, I don't know how they do it. Some of these blokes, him and Hobson's were extremely quick. And even Foster, he claims he's not a road course bloke, but he's blisteringly fast as well, you know. Like he's always up there. And yeah,
Well,
it's just, I don't know, I guess it's practice. They put a lot more hours in than some of us, so.
Looking through the time, so it's nice to see there's not a huge difference. I mean, obviously in racing terms, you know, second is a lifetime, but from first to sixth, they're pretty much within a second of each other, and then from seventh sort of onwards, they're pretty much neck and neck all the way down. You know, and it's great to see that they're not that far off. It's only a second here or there, and you know, second and a half for some of these drivers, and that's not a huge amount. We've seen bigger gaps in that before. You know, we've seen in the past sometimes the leader absolutely pulling away and almost lapping the field. This time round, though, it is a lot harder and it's a lot closer as well.
Yeah, I mean to say, you have a look at some of the oval tracks too, Carl. Some of those smaller tracks. We've seen races where the leaders have lapped right up to third place. So I mean to say, like you were saying, the times are close. It's just some guys have got a better handle on these things on road courses.
It's the consistency. I think that's the key. It's, you know, people like the leaders are all setting pretty much similar lap times. They're sort of metronomic in there. They're constantly setting the same lap times, and they're all in the low 20s and sometimes even in the 19s. Whereas people a little bit further back are sort of in the high 20s, and over a race distance, of course, that's going to really get quite large. But it's great to see them. They're not too far off from each other because, as I said, we've seen in the past some people absolutely dominating, and it's not been so this season. Obviously, Dyson's had some really good runs, but we've had Hobson out there who's really been close to him and putting up pressure and things like that. And it's that thing of competition driving people. It's great to see.
It is really good to see, and it makes really good racing, doesn't it? You know, like you say, with more and more guys getting faster and faster, and around here, like say, a second.
Woolie's in the pit. Sorry, Woolie's in the pit. Sorry, Matt.
You're all right, mate. Because this is a pretty big track too. It's not a 30-40 second oval.
No,
so a second's not a long time, really. You know, in difference.
So Lob's come in as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I do believe that's Lob in behind him too.
Yeah, there you go. DPR boys are all coming in now.
So both of them just taking fuel by the looks of things. Although Darren Lob was
kept going, did he? Or?
Lob was stationary for 11.6 seconds.
I think he may have got some damage repaired, mate.
Yeah, I reckon that's the case. I didn't see his car going up on the jacks, so I reckon he's just had a quick repair. But that is interesting to see. So the average stop time has been around about 8 seconds. So that's going to cost him a couple of seconds, and that could easily cost him getting up into the top three because he had that gap. JCW into pit lane now as well, so he's coming for his stop. Oh, Lob makes a big
Lob.
mistake, goes into the wall. In the infield, that is going to cost him a huge amount of time. Darren Lobb getting off in just before turn 6. Out of turn 5, Lobb getting into the wall, giving it a good scrape. That is a costly mistake from the 99. We'll see the replay here. Just coming through this section here, it just runs wide.
Oh, on the
Oh, he's
grass,
got it good.
I can tell you the infield grass here is super smooth, and once you get out there, you're just a passenger.
Yeah, it's like a bowling green. It
Yep.
feels like even pick up speed, you know.
Yeah, and that there was a fairly heavy smack on the wall
It
as well for
was.
Lobb, so he'll
I'm
be
surprised he
lucky.
didn't break that arm up there.
Yeah, he's lucky not to get more damage. I'm just looking at his
Looks like he
car on
hasn't hurt
track.
it too bad, maybe. It looks pretty straight still.
Yeah, it looks like it's only got the big scrape down the right. Although
Oh.
saying that, he runs very wide there.
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, there you go.
So we've had Foster and Heddershide come into pit lane as well. Dyson in pit lane now. So everybody is making their stops now. The only driver not to make a stop yet is Urquio, so I imagine he's going to be coming in shortly as well. But we'll see how this
Is
goes for
that
Dyson.
Dyson there?
Yes.
Yep.
Dyson and Neil in pit lane, so both orange cars are in pit lane. So it looks like fuel only for Dyson as well. Everybody's remembered to click the right buttons tonight and not take tyres by the looks of things. Only Lachlan Urquio to go, so we'll see if he'd remembered to click off the tyres.
We are talking about Lachlan here.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, go on.
Nan Curvis in pit lane as well for his stop. So we've had a few drivers now come through, and as I say, Lockie's earned the fuel saving award of the night. So he is the kindest driver on fuel. So if you're looking for a corporate driver to save on your fuel miles, I think Lachlan Urquio is your guy. He comes into pit lane now.
There you go. Yeah, you can give him your fuel card. He's all
right. He's not going to waste any drops of fuel. 33 laps for Lachlan. Decent run there in stint length. So that is really taking it to his max, and he's just made it in without coughing and spitting. So as he misses his box.
Oh, he does come back.
He knows that we're watching him. That's his trouble.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he does remember to click off the tyres, so at least he didn't make a mistake there. So 7.7 second stop as well, because he doesn't need to take as much fuel as some of the other cars. So that little bit of gain on the track is also a gain in pit lane, and comes out right behind Bicklemore there.
Yeah.
So that's a gain overall.
Exactly. Yeah, it could be good for him here. He's real quick, Lockie, too. He's been getting better and better. He's like you say, he's one of these drivers coming up these days.
Yeah, we've seen him sort of improving through the years, which has been great to watch on video. Of course, like it's the other thing as well in the series, you get to see people improve, and it's always nice to see when that happens. And Lockie's been having a really good run since his return to the series after his sojourn to Europe, and he's definitely come back with a bit of fire in his belly.
Yeah, he sure has, hasn't he? He's been real quick. We've been working with him a bit lately, and he sort of jumps into the chat, and yeah, we've been helping each other out and whatnot. And yeah, he's really, really quick and good young fella. So yeah, all the power to him.
Yeah, that's the only mark against him is his age. He's too young.
Yeah,
these kids
so
think
jealous.
These
Yeah.
One good thing too, Carl. Now after everyone's taken their pit stop, we now have only 5 cars a lap down. So I mean that's fantastic to see everyone, or most of the field, being able to get back onto that lead lap.
Yeah, it's really evened it up a bit, and Dyson is catching up to a big group of cars, and that's that sort of the Martin train, we could say. So Jason Martin, Barry Neal, Josh Mickelmore, and Lachlan Urquio all in that group. Ruben Phelps just fallen off a little bit of that pack, but those guys are all very close together, and it just shows how close the racing is. They've managed to keep a good couple of a second gap between all of those cars, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, they have all night. They've been racing each other, these fellas.
Oh, as Urquio has had a big moment. Yes, the curse of the commentators, all of us. Lockie has had a big off, and his night is over. Just ran wide on the exit of turn 7, and then coming onto the oval, he's had a big crash and broken the front of that car.
Oh, that's unfortunate for him. He was having a good run tonight, so he had plenty of pace, didn't he?
He did, and I think the power of all three of us together has managed to give him the absolute kibosh and wrecked his car. So yeah, he just ran a little bit wide through 7 and just gave the barrier a little brush, and I think that might have been enough damage to cause the car to have problems going back onto the oval. Real shame to see, because he was having, as you said, having a good run out there tonight. Another car in the wars is Norman Clark as well. I've just noticed he's had to come in for some repairs. As actually a similar accident to what we're witnessing here with Lachlan.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, that stuff.
He's-
Yeah.
When he's made contact with that wall, that's definitely that's broken the right front, and
Yep.
very similar to what Darren did, but Darren Lobb was able to get away with it.
Yeah, somehow, yeah.
I
Yeah, 'cause it
reckon-
looked like,
I saw
like
that
he hit it
incident,
less than Lob did.
Yeah, I saw that incident a number of times in practice, actually. That exact same thing where it was a pretty light hit to the wall there, but it was breaking the suspension or the drive line. So this new damage model.
Exactly the
just the
same.
angle
Sorry.
of the dangle.
The exact same thing happened to the 09 Norman Clark about the lap before. That happened to Urquio. He just ran wide and gave that wall a glance, and it broke that front right, and he just went straight up into the barrier onto the oval. So it's obviously it's a bit of a weak point. But I wonder if it's because you've turned in the wheel, because you've got the wheel cranked and might just be a little bit more force, whereas Lob was more. He wasn't turning the wheel when he had his accident, so that might be why the two accidents sort of played out as they did.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for old Normie too. But he's one of my favourites out there. Probably the biggest gentleman driver in the field, I reckon.
Exactly. I mean, veteran Norman Clark.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he is absolutely great to drive against, and he is a staple of the field. And we love seeing Norman out there, but he's just had a bit of a rough night tonight.
Yeah, he has, unfortunately, my man Normie. But oh well, he'll be back next week. You can count on that.
Yeah, I'm just watching Darren. he's liking that turn 1 outside wall as he comes off the oval back at making that turn into the infield. You can see there the right hand side of the car is starting to get a little bit beaten up.
Start to get a Darlington stripe at Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah, that's no good for the painters. I mean, that's a lot of extra work they have to put in. But it's not too bad. Just watching Neil Pearce, and he's fighting his way back. He's managed to get to the rear of Ruben Phelps now, so he is working his way up in this recovery drive and getting that battered DPR red flavour home. He's only got a few laps to catch up to Ruben Phelps, so we've only got 6 and a bit laps remaining now. So he's not got too long to do it to get that position. A little bit further up the field, though, we've got a good battle between Neil and Mickelmore. Mickelmore is all over the back of Barry Neil now, really trying to get his car up into a slightly better position in this race. And good run from Mickelmore tonight, considering he's battling the ill effects of that horrible spicy flu.
Oh, spicy cop. Here he goes. He's having a sniff now. Let's see if he can pull it off. Yeah, he's got him. It was a good drive by Josh there.
Fantastic little overtake there. Nice late on the brake moment and just got through. And they've got the leader coming up on them next, so shortly they'll have Dyson breathing down their necks, and that could come back into play for somebody like Barry Neal. Obviously, when you're on the road circuits, you sort of let the leaders through a little bit, but you've got to be careful where you do it because it's easy to lose a lot of time when you pull over.
Yeah, exactly. And Neil's only got Belt's not too far behind him, I don't think. Maybe I could be wrong there. Sorry, but
Good, about 10 seconds.
Oh, yes, yeah.
12 seconds between
okay,
those two now.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, they've dropped off a bit then. But Neil getting a bit loose there. He might be struggling a little bit on the tyres now. There are 40 odd laps old now, so they would be fairly worn by now. But
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they have a bit of a drop off now as they come into the latter stages, of course, and you might see some people just start to struggle a little bit, and that could be the reason why we saw Oka and Clark both having that moment as the tyres are just worn to a point where it's struggling.
yeah.
Up at the front, 3.5 seconds gap between the leaders, Dyson and Worley. Then it's a good 14 seconds back for Foster, who has a good 10-second lead over Lob. So the mistake by Lob has cost him a lot of time and really put him back, unable to fight for that P3. Because he has Heddershide behind him now, who's starting to set some quicker times as well. Heddershide is starting to catch up to Lob, so he's going to start putting pressure, and we're going to see if there's any damage to Lob's car as well, because he's been slightly off the pace. Still blisteringly quick out there, but he's not been setting his early lap times, so I wonder if that little brush with the wall has affected him.
I've been keeping an eye on him, Carl, and he's using the curbs through those chicanes a lot more to turn that car. So I don't know if the brush with the wall a couple of times has actually started to hurt that car. But yeah, he's definitely using those curves a lot more.
He might have just knocked the toe in a bit, and he's having to put a bit more wheel into it or something to try and counter it and just try and get it home.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely.
So yeah, bouncing pretty hard through there. It's normally fairly rough there though.
So, and of course, the trouble is when you get damage to the suspension geometry of these cars, it can cause a bit more wear on the tyres.
Oh, most definitely, yeah, and it can heat it up to the point where the tyre stops working, full stop sort of thing.
So, lots of negative effects come. Generally the best way to drive it is not hitting it into a wall. That's the sound advice, but it's easier said than done.
That's usually what I try and do. Yeah.
Carl, you should have told me that weeks ago, mate.
I'm giving away my secret, Mark. Now you're going to beat me.
You can see there he's trying to get that. He's got that back car chicane right, but he's just having trouble. He's not quite hitting that front one the way he's hitting the back, and he's just struggling. He's drifting right out to that outside wall.
Yeah, we say he's struggling, but he's still setting 19.7, so he's still setting very quick laps. He's one of the faster cars out there, but unfortunately for him, the car behind him is a good half a second quicker than him. So he's got to keep going at that pace, and he's got to keep pushing that car because Heddershide is closing in on them. So he's almost got to overdrive it to get it home, because otherwise he could lose that spot.
Yeah, with 4 laps to go, I don't know if Daniel will get to him. It'll be interesting if he does. If he does, I'd say it's going to be the last lap.
Just up the front now, the gap has closed as Dyson's just caught up to the traffic. The gap has closed down to just under 1.5 seconds. So the Philip Worley is catching up to the back of his teammate Andrew Dyson. And Philip Worley having a good run out here tonight. It's nice to see him back out in the field, of course. Former winner in the Cup Series. Got his win last season. I'm trying to think of the race he did it. But he has got some good pace on the road circuits, and he's going to be looking to try and get up in those positions.
Yeah, he's always been stout around a road course. It must be something in the DPR water they drink or something. I don't know.
I think he got his win on a short track though. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I
yeah,
can't remember which one it was, but yeah, no, he did really well that night.
yeah. It was nice to see. So they're quick on both the squiggly circuits. It's all Wally has a big lockup going into the turn 11 there, just getting up behind Barry Neal, and then he'll have got a slow down for sure. But that was a big moment for him. He almost lost the car into the wall. So you still got to be careful out there because it is very easy to lose it. With 2 laps remaining, you just don't want to have a big crash now and end up not finishing the race.
That's it. And they are looking like they're getting to be a bit of a handful. I noticed the rear rotors have been glowing for a while. Most of the cars, so yeah, they would be a bit squirrely by now.
You're here with us on Performance eStreaming and the ANZCAR Facebook page for the ANZCAR Cup. We are, of course, round 31 of 35 and 6 of 10 of the chase. We're glad you're joining us tonight here for the ANZCAR Cup, brought to you by 24/7 Sim Services. So big thanks to all of you for joining us, and if you haven't, please hit that subscribe and that usual stuff that we say, just so you can catch races in future. But we are getting towards the end of the race now. Looks like there's not too many positions to be gained for people. All the gaps have pretty much let themselves open now.
Yeah, that's all settled down pretty well there, hasn't it? Tristan Koch, he's having a good night up there in 12th.
Yeah, he's just ahead of Nan Curvis at the moment. And Koch, one of those other drivers that's sort of always here and always putting in the hard effort and doesn't get as much TV time, but always down and putting in the good miles. And a solid result tonight. And that car is very clean as well. Hopefully won't put any curses on it, but he's got a clean car at the moment, which is a hard thing to do around this place, and especially have that sort of pace. He's been setting laps sort of the 122 sort of range, so he's been very consistent in the low 122s, and that's a really good run from Koch tonight.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see. Like you say, he's at every meeting, every race. Puts in there. He's always good to race against.
Yeah.
He's plenty of a bit of a gentleman. So yeah, it's good to see. Good to see him have a good run.
And that's the thing as well. A lot of times in the sort of tail end of the field, the racing can get a little bit rough sometimes, but everybody's very clean, and that's one of the things that's really good about the series. Is you tend to have a lot of clean drivers around, which makes a difference. But we are getting towards the end of this race as we see Dyson coming onto the back straight for the final time tonight. He's just behind Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin, so looks like P8 onwards has managed to save themselves from getting lapped, although Dyson's going to try his best. But he only has a couple of minutes to do it. He gets across the line, and Andrew Dyson takes the win here tonight for the ANZCAR Cup here at the Roval. It's Dyson crossing the line in first with Wally in second. Third place is going to be Foster. He just has to get it across the line. He does indeed. Fourth place comes in for Lob, with Daniel Heddershide coming in fifth place.
JCW there, solid run from him.
Yeah, it's good to see JCW back, of course. Another driver that's been gallivanting around Europe for a while, but he's finally got back to the country and back in the sim, and he's been having some fairly solid results since his return. It's good to see JCW back. Another driver that's really, we've seen his journey from in the ANZCAR series.
Bringing it home 6. It's a good result for him. Well, for anyone, sorry.
And then finally, it is the battle for the final spot, and that's between Martin and Micklemore. And Micklemore has managed to jump Martin.
Yeah, he's passed him.
Yeah. Just trying to see where that happened. So. Going back, let's have a bit of a look. But yeah, Josh managed to get past Jason. Just coming out of the final chicane, Jason made a bit of a mistake. got a big lock on, just over rotated the car, and that gave Josh Mickelmore the opportunity to sneak on past Jason Martin and get into 7th position. Jason Martin in 8th. 9th is Barry Neal, a solid run from Barry, with Neil Pearson limping home in 10th position. A solid recovery from Pearson considering the damage on the car.
Yeah, he ended up picking off Ruby by the end there.
So as we roll the page over, it is Ruben Phelps in 11th. 12th for Tristan Koch. 13th for Nan Curvis. Urquio comes home 14th out of the race with Clark 15th. And then Matty Ray, of course, busy up here chatting to us in the commentary box, but comes home in 16th position.
There we go. I did better than if I raced, I reckon.
Exactly. You did better than me and Mark. So
We'd be still on lap 2, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we'd be still turning laps till midnight, mate. Yeah. That was a good race, wasn't it?
No, it was a good race, and you could see that, you know, probably the two best drivers were finished 1 and 2, and I know Ed will say he's wrapped with 3rd place, so well done to those top 3 guys. I'm happy. Chev home 1st and 2nd, although next year I may find myself driving a Ford, so we'll see where we go next year.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change your ways there, aren't you, mate?
yeah,
Yeah,
times have got
definitely.
that tough for you, Mark.
Sorry, mate.
Times have got that tough for you, eh?
Yeah.
What
New team owner is a Ford man, so
That's all right. It's going to be sad to see you leave the bow tie, boys, mate. I'm sorry.
I'm just waiting for the drivers to get up in the green room. So, Mr. Matty Ray, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you up in the booth. Who was your driver of the night?
Well, I mean, you can't go past Dyson, really, can you? But I really like the cut of the jib on Darren Lobb. I thought he had a good pace, worked his way. I can't remember where he started, but he had pace all night. I mean, he granted he made a little bit of a mistake, but he was real quick and, yeah, made a few passes on some good drivers. So I'll put him down.
Yeah, gained 10 positions in the race, which is not an easy feat to do, and had to pass a lot of drivers to get there.
Yeah, it's not easy on a road course, yeah.
Absolutely. And Mark?
Oh, look, I'm gonna go Ed. Yeah, he said he wasn't good here. He just wanted to get a good solid result. I mean, say he started 5th, so he's 5th, wasn't? No, 4th. So he came up 2 spots. So I'm going to go Ed with a good solid race, and staying out of trouble.
Yeah, that's it. He had a good solid night, did what he had to do, or did what he wanted to do, and got some good points.
Absolutely, good choices. I'm gonna actually go for Mickelmore tonight because being unwell, he got it home into the top 7 tonight, and fairly solid run from him, and he's having a good battle with Jason towards the end as well. So that's my little pick. But as you said, Dyson, you just got a hats off to him and Wally. They were superb tonight. What I might do, Mark, would you be up for interviews tonight?
Yeah, mate, I can do them if you want. Give your voice a break. All
right. We'll just grab up the 3rd place finisher, Edward Foster for Natari.
And we're joined now in the booth by Mr. Ed Foster. Welcome to the booth, Ed, and congratulations on 3rd place, mate.
Thanks very much.
You've definitely done what you said you wanted to do. You just get a good solid result, and very, very good. Stayed clean all night and stayed out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite proud of that, to be honest. I mean, these guys like Worley and Lobb and everything like that are very quick on on the road courses, especially. They race in, they race the V8s all the time, and I see their results and the stuff they're able to do. And I know that Worley probably wasn't pushing as hard as he could. He looked as though he was just kind of taking it easy and doing what he had to do. But I had Lobb coming behind me and everything like that, and to be able to hold those guys off. Well, not Worley obviously, but just to be able to hold my own against guys like that on a road course. I'm pretty proud of that, honestly.
Yeah, mate. Look, you got my vote as driver of the night purely because you've done what you said you wanted to do, and that was get a good result. So moving forward, we're back into the ovals. Any tracks coming up that you feel really comfortable on?
Yeah, look, I don't know. I'd say Dyso would have to be driver of the night, wouldn't he? He led just about every lap and disappeared into the distance. But yeah, look, if you want to say that, if it's kind of like the unexpected performance award, maybe I'll take that one. Yeah, look, I mean, I like, I do quite like Vegas, which is our next one, but there aren't any like tracks coming up where I'm like I feel uncompetitive. So every time that we get to this race in the chase, I'm just trying to, I know Dyso's going to beat me, so I'm just trying to lose as little points as possible. And
Stop the bleeding.
I was just sort of thinking top 5. If top 5 would be great, if not that, then top 10, and to come away with third. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with. I feel like I got out of jail a little bit, so. It's going to close the points right up. I think Dyso will be in the lead by 2 or 3 or something like that. But yeah, we got a title fight on now, guys. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, that's what I was going to allude to next. Is that it's going to tighten the points right up, and it's really going to come down to the skill level and maybe a little bit of luck in some of these races.
I mean, there's a lot of luck in oval racing anyway. Like, when the cautions fall and things, people say, oh, you make your own luck. And I guess you do to a degree. I mean, you got to keep it off the wall and you got to be quick enough to get the job done. But at the same time, you can come up with the best strategy in the world and then the caution falls at the wrong time. And all of a sudden you've gone from hero to zero, So, yeah, look, there's so much racing yet to go. Like, there's no point wasting time and energy trying to control things that you can't. I've probably had the best chase I've actually had so far in terms of like average finish and so on. I haven't been lower than third yet. If I can keep up that level of performance and Dyso still manages to beat me, then he deserves it. Because if you can beat a guy who's averaging second place or something around there, you've got an average finish in the chase of 2 point something or whatever, and you manage to beat that guy, you deserve that. So, yeah, pretty stress-free, mate. I'm just taking each race as it comes and trying not to make any mistakes.
I think that's the best way to be, Ed. Well, mate, congratulations again on third place tonight. And before we let you go, shout out to the sponsors and supporters. I know you've got a very good supporter there tuning in every week. So let's hope you can get another chase for her.
Oh, yeah, dear old mum's in there again, is she? Blowing up your comment section, I'm sure. Yeah, no worries. Hey, yeah, AJD fully floored as well. All the Natari guys tonight. It's a bit of a shame what happened to Daniel at the beginning, but, it just looked like one of those things that happens when you try and, get several of these big stock cars through a tight bit of track like that. So he managed to recover well, top 5. And yeah, just shouts out to everybody, and I guess respect to Dyso. Too good again on the road course. I'd hope to maybe be able to give Wally a little bit more to think about, but he was cut above as well. So good job to those guys.
Yeah, thanks, mate, and congratulations, and we'll see you in 2 weeks now for the cups.
Yeah, we got a week off. That's a very welcome relief. Just a bit of time off. We'll sit back, watch the 1000K that's happening over in New South Wales, and come back for the last 4 races, and then have some well-deserved time off. I think we'll have a bit of a holiday, a few beers, and everything else. So it'll be good.
Yeah. All right, mate. Thanks for your time, and again, congratulations on third place.
Yeah, thanks a lot, mate.
Okay, next up we will grab the purple flavour of DPR car for Philip Worley.
Well, good evening, Mr. Worley. Congratulations on second place, mate. You got to be happy with that at DPR 1 and 2.
Yeah, very happy, mate. Very happy. Finally got a chance to come and race from work commitments, so that's always a good thing, and panned out to be a good night. Can't complain.
Yeah, definitely, and a big help there, and taking second place, and helping your teammate there, just get that little bit more of a gap in the chase points. So no tyre wear or anything? Everything, the race went the way you planned, or were you going to try and race Dyson for the lead if you could get to him?
No, absolutely not, mate. That's, I'm just here for a bit of fun tonight and mainly to help Dyson because I've been missing too many rounds because I wasn't here. So, the plan was always to just get a nice clean start and then allow Daiso to cruise on ahead. And after that, he had too much pace for me anyway. So I was never going to challenge for the win. Basically, just cruise home to the end.
Yeah. Are we going to see you again in the chase back onto the ovals at all, or I know work commitments play a role in everyone's racing. So plan to have another couple of runs at the last 4 rounds.
Look, I would love to say I can sneak away from work early again and be on the grid for the rest of the year.
Just tell the boss I said you can.
Yeah. Trouble is, I am the boss, so that's probably not going to happen. But look, I'll do my best to get on the grid to help Daiso. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We'll just see week to week, man.
Yeah. Well, mate, congratulations on second place. Shout out to sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, just thanks to all the boys that, in the team. They're always cheering us on and doing what we do every week. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and of course, ANZCAR for putting on the series, and all our amazing sponsors for the continued support throughout the year, through everything. Simrigs.com, Southall Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, and of course, MP Designs.
All right, mate. Well, let's hope we can see you back on the track if work allows it and the boss allows you. And congratulations on second place.
Thanks very much, boys. Appreciate it.
Well, and finally, we'll grab the orange flavour of DPR car, the 41 of Mr. Andrew Dyson.
Mate, I don't know if I should talk to this bloke. It's getting to be too much of a common issue. Congratulations, Andrew, on the win tonight, mate. Showed a nice set of heels to everyone.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was a good race. Good to get that one down. Basically, had to just get it done, and happy to get it done.
Mate, looks like it was just a routine Sunday drive for you out there. Once you got the lead, started to drive away from everyone.
Yeah, I was kind of got out to a bit of a gap, and then decided I'd try and keep a bit of fuel in the bank to try and make sure I could lead all the laps and not let anybody else get a lead lap sort of thing. So I tried to do that and managed to speed in the gap that way, and had a bit of a go at the end there as well. So yeah, it was pretty good. It was good.
Yeah, mate, you've got to be happy with a 1-2 with Philip getting in there in the second spot. So a nice finish for DPR.
Yeah, man. Well, he's no slouch on the road stuff, man. I mean, even on the circles, sometimes he goes pretty good, but he's been staying away from it a bit. I think he lost a bit of enthusiasm at the start of the year. He made a bit of a blue and was pretty hard on himself, but hopefully he can come back and have a bit more of a go next year because he's pretty good on the circles and the road courses, so it'll be good.
Yeah, well, mate, a tighten you taking the win tonight, it's going to tighten things right up again in the chase. Not that that's a big gap at the moment, but back to the ovals in a fortnight. Is there anywhere in those last 4 rounds where you think you may have, or you think you have the goods over other drivers?
Oh, I think all the tracks coming up are pretty good for me, but they're pretty good for everyone, really. I mean, there's no one who I can picture in the chase who is not good at any particular track coming up. So it's the same as usual, mate. It's the same as the last 6 races. Just got to go out and do the best I can. That's all you can do, mate.
Yeah, run your own race and see how the cookie crumbles at the end of it, mate.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's exactly right.
All right, mate. Well, congratulations. Shout out to sponsors and supporters before we let you go.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the lads at DPR. Thanks for being Mad Dogs. Shout out to Simrig, South Wales, Ben Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, Neil Pearson Designs, and of course you guys for putting it all on and jumping in and yelling at race cars tonight, and all the guys behind ANZCAR as well for putting on the whole show. So it's great fun.
Well, thanks very much, mate. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the Cup cars again.
Yeah, well deserved break. I think a little bit of a week off. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Andrew.
Oh, as you heard, we have got a week off next time before we head to Las Vegas in a couple of weeks' time. On the what's the date on that one? It's the
2 weeks, and it will be the
yeah.
6th. No,
No.
13th.
Yeah, 30th. Yeah, there we go. We can do maths, honestly.
I had to take my shoes off for that one.
Luckily, Mark, that bit of Tasmanian blood and you giving you those 13 extra toes has helped out tonight. But no, well deserved break. Big thank you, as I said, to Maddie Ray tonight for joining us up here in the booth. But hopefully we'll get to see you back on track shortly, because as much as we love having you up here, we might rather see you out there battling.
Yeah, thanks, boys. It's been fun. I've never really done anything like this. So yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, of course, and thanks for everything you guys do. Maddie and you guys go to so much work doing all this. So yeah, a bit of a thank you is well deserved, I think. So.
Don't give us any credit. It's all Matt. Matt Hunt does all the work. We just talk.
Stop cursing Noddy, though, will you? Every time you praise Noddy, he crashed straight away. So stop cursing him, will you?
Oh, last night was a classic.
Oh, that was a beauty, wasn't it?
So I told you, Matt, there was nothing to worry about. Just come up and be yourself.
Yeah, well, hopefully I didn't butcher it too much. Like I said, I don't really have a clue what I'm doing. But yeah, it was fun watching the race and enjoying the aircon for once with you boys up in the booth. So yeah, thanks.
Absolutely welcome. Pleasure to have you up here, Maddie Ray. Big thank you as well to Mr. Mike Johansson, of course. Where can we find you next, Mark?
We've got this week, Saturday night, round 2 of the Inside Line Triple Crown. So that's going to be at Indianapolis. So that's going to be interesting. And I believe Matt's going to push some buttons for us this week.
That's right.
Yeah, make his job sound easy. And as always, a big thank you to Maddie Hunter as well. Matt, of course, going to be heading off to Las Vegas next time out. So got that with the Thunder and the Cup coming up.
Yeah, yep. Looking forward to the week break. And then, both rounds, Thunder will be at Las Vegas and Cup will be as well. And then we're on that 4-week home straight for the season.
No, absolutely. Looking forward to a well-deserved break from everybody in the team. And of course, big thank you to everybody for joining us tonight out there watching on replay and live. Big thanks to you all. And we wish you all a good night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you ever so much from the ANZCAR Cup, brought to you by 24/7 Sim Services. Good night.